Hi everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Malice in the Mitten. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with my bestie, Christine Mulligan. Hey, Christine.
Hey, Trace. Hey, everybody. All right, what are we getting into today? I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever. This week has been really long. So, what stories are you telling me about?
I agree, it's been a really long week. But today's story was written by someone very special to us, our friend and neighbor, Rebecca Hiers. And we want to say right from the beginning, this is her work, and we are honored to share it exactly as she wrote it.
All right, so let's hear it, because I always love when Rebecca writes us stuff. So let's hear it.
All right, I do too. And today we're telling Jane's story with care.
Before we begin, we need to let you know that today's episode contains discussion of violence against a woman, including stabbing, and the traumatic discovery of a mother by her young children. While we will not be graphic, the subject matter may be distressing for some listeners. Please take care of yourself and listen when you're ready. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, support is available through the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. Now, let's begin.
This is Season 10, Episode 30, The Rest Stop Murder, The Mystery of Jane Snow. Spring is a time for new beginnings and fresh starts. The cold harshness of winter fades and new life begins to give hope of renewal, the promise of change and whispers of better things to come. It's a time of year where good things seem possible and life a bit brighter after the cold, dark days of winter. May 15th, 1979. Spring's promises of new beginnings whispered to Jane Snow. The 31-year-old divorced nurse had put in her notice at her job in Grand Rapids and was heading towards her hometown of Escanaba in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Her last day of work would be June 1st, 1979. This trip was a quick trip to find a new place to live and to visit family. She already had a new job lined up at the hospital in Escanaba. They just needed a place to call home. A town smaller than Grand Rapids, the single mom of two felt it was a better place to raise her two boys, Eric, age 9, and Mark, age 7. It was smaller, safer. The crime rate was rising in Grand Rapids, and she wanted the peace she had known as a small girl for her sons. There was family close by to help with the boys, and she would have a support system. There were old friends to reconnect with and new friends to make. She loaded the last of their items into her 1974 Dodge Dart, got the dog settled, and the boys tucked in. She took one last look around, entered her car, and then about 4:30 p.m., Jane started driving them north. The trip would take about 6 hours. Jane, however, would never make her new beginning.
That line right there, that one kind of hits different. She was so close to a whole new life.
She absolutely was close. Now, Jane was born April 11th, 1948, to John and Miriam Baraboo, and was one of 6 children. Raised Catholic, she and her siblings attended Catholic schools in Escanaba. Jane would later graduate from St. Joseph's School of Nursing in Hancock, Michigan. After graduating as a registered nurse, she moved to Lansing and Detroit. She met her husband, had her boys, and divorced. She worked in Grand Rapids at St. Mary's Hospital in 1973. Then later, she transferred to Mary Free Bed Hospital. There she worked with paraplegics and quadriplegics. Her sister Mary, in an interview, said, quote, "She loved her work with these young men and always tried to bring some joy and hope into their lives. Jamie always felt nursing was more than just medicine. She had a happy heart and a kind, loving soul."
You can kind of tell who she was as a person just from what you just said. Nursing wasn't just a job for her.
No, and I can only imagine, I mean, you and I have had some pretty gritty day-to-day experiences in ICU and CCU, but I've never taken care of long-term paraplegics or quadriplegics before. That's a whole different level of care.
I could totally see I think I'm relating to her because I could see myself, if I was in that, I would totally be in their lives. Like, they would all become members of my family, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
She was a tiny slip of a woman, just standing at 5 feet even and weighing only 100 pounds. She didn't let her slight stature get in the way of her work, and it seemed to cause her no issues in moving patients larger than her and lifting them. She was tiny, but tough. Jane, the boys, and the dog had made the trip to Escanaba many times before, but usually on weekends when there was more traffic. May 15th was a Tuesday, so the traffic was a bit lighter than what they normally encountered. Around 7:15 to 7:30 p.m., Jane pulled off at the rest stop area at Loon Lake, about 4 miles south of Grayling. This was near the halfway point in their journey, so it was a good time to let the dog go potty and let the boys burn off any spare energy they may have left. There was still daylight, and the sun wasn't due to set until about 9 p.m. They had the rest area to themselves. Even though it was surrounded by thick trees in the pre-dusk light, it felt safe. Leaving the dog in the car, Jane went to the women's bathroom, and the 2 boys went into the men's room. The boys finished before their mom, so they let the dog out to go to the bathroom and played on the grass with it for a bit. As they sat in the deserted rest area, the 2 boys began to wonder what was going on with their mom. They had been done and ready to go for about 10 minutes, and there was still no sight of Jane. Putting the dog back in the car, the boys went to the ladies' room and knocked on the door, calling softly, "Mom?" But there was no answer. Knocking again, calling a little louder, and getting no reply. They finally opened the door and went in, and there they saw a sight no child should ever have to see. Their mother lying fully dressed in a puddle of blood. She had been stabbed 22 times and was already dead. Mark reached into his mother's purse and pulled out a quarter. Taking the quarter, he ran to the payphone in the lobby to call for help.
That is absolutely unimaginable. A 9 and a 7-year-old boy finding their mother like that in a place where they don't even know where they are. I have no words.
I agree with you. My brain just goes round and round and round, like, how? And these poor little boys.
Obviously, whatever psychopath did this to her was a stranger, obviously, if it was like at a rest stop. And the boys didn't see anyone else at the rest stop. I mean, you mentioned that it was a deserted rest stop. So how fortunate that this maniac didn't come across the boys as well.
It's bizarre. This story is absolutely bizarre.
It is. Okay, I gotta know more. What's going on?
All right. Now the payphone was busted, of course. So one of the boys ran out of the lobby, past the car, and down the ramp to get to I-75, the little on-ramp to get right back onto the highway. For about an hour, he tried to flag down someone to help them. Finally, A couple from the nearby town of Wolverine stopped, crying so hard he could hardly speak. He managed to tell them, "Mommy's hurt." The couple went back to the rest area with him, where the man confirmed Jane was dead. He too found the payphone not working and ran back down that ramp to I-75 and flagged down another person who drove to the Grayling Post of the Michigan State Police. The state police arrived and spent over 4 days going through the rest area and surrounding woods. When the news of Jane's stabbing was announced to the public, multiple people would call in to report that Jane's car was the only vehicle there that night. The parking lot was visible from the freeway, and people driving past had noticed only her car parked there. Jane had been stabbed with a double-edged knife, which was not left at the scene. Nearby Loon Lake was searched by dive teams. Tracking dogs were brought in and the woods were searched as well. But nothing was found except for 3 bloody footprints, 1 on the bathroom floor and 2 outside in the dirt. Jane, when found, was completely dressed. She had not been sexually assaulted. She had not been robbed. Her purse was still intact with her car keys inside. Her boys had not seen anyone come into the rest area either by the road or from the woods. There were no clues except for the 3 footprints and the fact that she had been stabbed by a double-sided knife. That was it. Until Trooper Eugene Seibel recalled picking up a hitchhiker on southbound I-75 about a half mile from the rest area, and that was about 7:25 p.m. that same night. The hitchhiker's hands were covered in scratches. When questioned, the man stated he had been in a fight with his wife and he was headed towards a friend's home to spend the night. As Jane's murder had not been discovered yet, there was no reason for Trooper Seibel to doubt the man's story. But he did warn the man that hitchhiking was illegal. Trooper Seibel dropped him off at the next exit going south. He waited a few moments, watching the man walk off into the night, and then he drove off down the highway. A description of the hitchhiker was put out, and he would later be identified as a 28-year-old fugitive from Rhode Island, John McGauley. His wife Jean would back up his story, stating they were asked to leave a bar. He took a beer bottle with him and threw it at her as they drove down the road. At that point and time, she stopped and tossed him out of the car. In the area, he would later be picked up by Trooper Seibel. Interviews would show that John McGauley had spent that Tuesday night going back and forth between local towns bar hopping with his wife. Various bartenders and waitstaff in the towns of Onaway, Tower, Afton, Indian River, and Wolverine would tell police about his bizarre behavior as the night went on. At 6:30 p.m., he was in a bar in Indian River when he was cut off from being served alcohol. Getting mad, he left the bar with his wife Jean. The two would fight, and she would toss him out on I-75 South. It would be discovered after he left that a knife used to cut onions was missing. It was a double-sided knife. While John had a long rap sheet in Rhode Island, it was for things such as forgery and bad checks, not murder. Picked up in Pontiac 3 days after the murder, he was found wearing a bloody shirt. Now, the shirt was sent for DNA testing, and the blood was found to not be Jane's. And there was no record of if this was the same shirt he was wearing the day he was picked up for hitchhiking. Due to an outstanding warrant for his arrest from Rhode Island, He was extradited there to stand trial for forgery. While a good suspect, there was never enough evidence to charge him with Jane's murder. Now, he died of an overdose in 2017. Interviewed multiple times by police over the years, he always denied involvement. Realistically, though, he doesn't make sense. His wife dropped him off on the southbound part of the highway. The north and south lanes are divided. Now, he would have had to have walked across 2 lanes of southbound traffic, through the median, across 2 lanes of northbound traffic, and gone into the woman's room without being seen by anyone. In relative daylight, after drinking all day, murdered Jane, managed not to get any blood on himself, then snuck out of the restroom, past the 2 boys and the dog, across all the traffic lanes again, and picked up by Trooper Seibel 10 minutes after she was killed. Now, 22 stab wounds is a lot of rage and a lot of blood. It seems like her killer would have been covered in blood, and this guy was not. Now, the book Unexplained Michigan Mysteries by Garrett Barkneft mentions an unnamed local man as a suspect. The man, known in the area as a wife beater, who lived on the other side of the woods near the rest area. When interviewed, he told the police he was home that night. His third ex-wife and a daughter from his first wife would later say they heard his mother say he admitted to lying about where he was. He really was in the woods by the rest area at the time Jane was killed. But like with John, there was never enough evidence to take him to trial. In none of the information available online is there any information available about her ex-husband and father of the boys. Is it possible he was upset they were moving and he followed them? Yes. Is it likely? No. One newspaper article very briefly mentioned the boys went to a foster care home the night of the murder, and the next day their father came and picked them up and took them to their grandparents. However, no information available describes how the dog was acting that night. Now, if someone unfamiliar to the dog was skulking about, posing a threat to the boys, it would be logical to assume the dog would react to their presence. But nothing says she did. So, could the killer have been someone familiar to her?
20 stab wounds, that kind of tells you that's a crime of passion. 20 stab wounds. I don't understand. You said, is it likely? No. That's what you said about the husband following them. But you're right. The dog didn't, or at least the boys didn't say that the dog was flipping out. They didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like the dog wasn't barking in the car. So he was just chilling, seeing the family around him. I don't know if I believe you that it's not likely that the husband followed her.
Well, I mean, how would he follow her if there was not a car? And how would he know what rest stop to be at? That's kind of the wonky bit about it, because
it was daylight and cars come and go. And was there any other, like, was there a parking area or a road behind the rest stop?
That's a good question. I don't know. Because you know how some rest stops are. I can only speak to the ones around this area and some others that I've stopped at. But there's usually a pretty big grassy area for people with their pets to let them out, run around, play, do their business. And there's, usually some form of woods around them. So to me, it seems more likely that someone was, I don't know. I even seem to think in my mind, like, how in the hell is this all possible? Because a dog would smell a stranger, see a stranger. I would imagine they could smell blood after the fact.
You don't mention what kind of dog this was. If it was just a little kind of terrier dog, they're not usually on guard. You know what I mean? But just innately, for larger dogs, they're usually more guard-like dogs, even if they're scaredy cat dogs. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, right.
a terrier dog kind of just goes with the flow. They might be yappy and nobody thinks anything of their yaps. But I don't know. 20 times to be stabbed 20 times. Somebody was in a fit of passion, whether it was directly at her or within themselves anyway. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, just someone who hates women and maybe taking out their hatred of a particular woman in their life on this woman. Maybe she looked like someone that they were very angry about. And then the other part of me almost wonders, were they hiding in the stall? Were they hiding and then crawled up into the ceiling? Maybe they hung out there. I don't know. This is such a mystery. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, well, they definitely ran if the footprints in the dirt were found bloody.
That's true.
That's after the fact, right?
Right.
So
there goes my theory.
They didn't say where in the dirt. Was it towards the parking lot? Was it towards the back of the area, towards the woods? Like, I don't know. So many questions.
Right, like maybe they hopped out of a window and landed hard and the shoes are pointing toward the woods. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But I feel like definitely a crime of passion, whether it was directly towards her or towards another woman that looked like her. But then a crime of passion that was also opportunistic, like that woman just popped in their viewpoint at the time that they were passionate. Like, I don't know. This is crazy.
It's totally crazy. Now, 5 years after the murder, serial killer Henry Lee Lucas confessed to the crime. Local police went to Texas to interview him, but found his claims to be unbelievable. They then went to Florida and interviewed his murder partner, who was also in prison, Otis O'Toole. Now, I don't know if you know these names or not, but these guys were some pretty horrible killers, but they confessed to like all kinds of murder everywhere, like numbers definitely in the double digits and possibly in the triple digits. But a lot of their claims were false. Now, both men had family in Michigan and were believed to be tied to murders in the Detroit area, but both men were ruled out of the killing of Jane Snow. It was thought for a time that local drug users were crashing in the ladies' room while high, and perhaps she walked in on someone in the process of using. If her boys went into the men's room at the same time she went into the ladies' room, a drugged-out user would possibly have enough time to stab her and escape unseen before the boys were done. But nothing was found in Rebecca's research to back up this theory either. No needles or other items commonly found where drugs are used. Now, I'm going to just pop in real quick because when I actually took a picture of this because I've never seen anything like it, but when I was driving home from Greenville, North Carolina, I stopped in Ohio at the Walter Davis rest stop. So when I walked into the bathroom, I was absolutely taken aback because there was an opioid overdose supply case, basically, that was attached to the wall. It was white with big red letters, opioid overdose supplies. I didn't know that's a thing, apparently.
Well, I would imagine in areas where they have high prevalence of opioid addictions, especially in rest areas, it probably would be a great idea for them to have opioid overdose supply kits. So a bystander walks in on someone in the bathroom overdosed, they can help them.
Yeah, and this rest stop was very nice. You know what I mean? That's what I judge. I mean, they usually are, but if I'm going to stop somewhere, I'm always checking out, like, how many cars, how many semi-trucks, what does the area look like? You know, like, this was a very, very nice, clean, beautiful rest stop, to be honest. So I was, like, just taken aback. But, hey, man, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know how I feel about that, though. That's a very heavy conversation to have. Like, overdose kits available everywhere to the layman. I don't know. I feel like it's just, it feeds the problem. I don't know. That's a big philosophical conversation.
I know, we could certainly shine a ball on this one.
Yeah.
I should have opened it to see what was in there. I wonder if there smelling salts, or you know how they have those inhalants that you just squirt up their nose.
Yeah, I would imagine there's got to be a Narcan needle in there. There's got to be an ampule, but it's not like a needle where the layman would be able to get to the needle. It's like the bullet ampules that you stab into somebody's thigh or
like an
whatever.
EpiPen. Like an EpiPen.
Yeah.
And I should have opened that damn box. Damn it! Now I'm gonna have to drive back there. All right, so sorry guys, we shiny ball on that one big time. But it was worth saying. All right, now it's been almost 47 years since Jane was killed. The family is still waiting for answers. The boys have grown up, married, and have children of their own. While they have had many springtimes and new beginnings, what they haven't had is answers to why they found what they found on that May night so long ago. Somebody, somewhere, has to know something. So if you know of anything that can help shed some light on this case, please contact the Michigan State Police Grayling Post at 989-348-5449. 47 years. Still, no answers. Jane Snow was more than a headline. She was a nurse, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a woman trying to build a safer life for her children.
I can't help but be curious to know 47 years later if the boys have, because I know as a 50-year-old woman myself, I've done a lot of shadow work, and basically all shadow work means is thumbing through all of the issues that you had throughout your life, things that triggered you, things that made you grow, things you learned from, things traumatic, things that were happy, all the things that happened throughout your life. When they happen, you process them one way, but as you grow and look back on them, you reprocess them in several different ways, looking at things from several different perspectives, from all the angles. I would be highly interested to know how the boys look back on that now, how many different perspectives or angles they've reprocessed everything that happened. I'd be interested to know if they question their father in any way, shape, or form. And I'd be interested to know if they've discovered nuances in their father's reactions to them losing their mother. Not right after it happened, because I still find it curious that they weren't that far from home, but yet the father didn't get them until the next day. Where was he that night? Why wasn't he contacted and told to come to the scene while they were processing everything? Because crime scene processing doesn't happen as fast as the rest of us think it does, because we watch all these crime show TVs and these documentaries and all of that. And yeah, we're all familiar with the first 48 of an investigation, right? The first 48 hours, the clock is ticking. We're all familiar with that. However, within those first 48 hours that the detectives are doing their first 48 when the clock starts, there's about 12 to 16 hours of just processing the scene, let alone that you had 2 minors at this scene. So there were social workers called. I'm sure it was, a hotbed of red lights and cars pulling up and pulling away. So in all of that chaos, the father was never called to come get these 2 minor boys, and the father wasn't called to the scene. The fact that the boys went to a foster home for the night, that is still stuck in my gullet. Like, I don't know what that's about. Where was the father for that whole night? Was he running through the woods getting rid of bloody clothes? That's all I can think.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It's just me. When you hear hoof sounds, you don't think of zebras, you think of horses. And she's divorcing him and leaving with his children. I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't be MIA for the night.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. can't get over that. I can't get past it. And I'm really curious. Not that we'll probably ever find out, but I'd be curious to talk to the gentlemen that went through this traumatic experience as minors.
Exactly, because, I mean, we've done stories before. Let's just take the Mike Gatto case with his father, Joseph. I mean, Mike Gatto has done nothing but research and look and broadcast and, you know, all that kind of stuff with the traumatic loss of his father. Now, these boys were in a completely different situation, but they still lost their mother. Like on a average, we're going up north to look for a place to live, guys. And in an arrest area, boom, that quick, in the blink of an eye, their life changed forever. So like you mentioned, that would be I would really enjoy a conversation talking to them to find out what they've done, what kind of research have they found.
It kind of would have fell to their father. Do you know what I mean? And nowhere in this story did you say that he was pressing or... I mean, I get that they were getting divorced. And I get that back then, divorce wasn't amicable ever. Not like we're talking 1979. Divorce was probably necessary, usually. People didn't just amicably be like, oh, we're drifting apart, we want other things. Nowadays, that might be the case. You know what I mean? I mean, I know my divorce was amicable, and he's still my best friend. You know what I mean? But we're weirdos. I get that. However, I'm more the norm nowadays than it was back in 1979. If you got divorced, that divorced mom became a leper in some cases. You know what I mean? Like, divorce was shunned. Divorce was a very last resort kind of thing. Of course, I'm implying a lot of things on top of this, but I'm just trying to go with the norm, right? If that's what you got to base. That's the jumping point. Right. That's where it's got to be based from, right? Like, what was the norm then? So the norm then was probably contentious.
Very.
And nowhere in any of this are they looking at the husband, and that blows my mind.
I couldn't agree more.
Hello.
Right, like, wasn't that the gold standard? Look at who was closest to this woman. They literally just were divorced.
Exactly. And she was literally just on the run. I know that's not how you made it seem. Like, you made it seem like, oh, she was blissfully going off to a new chapter. And in the beginning, I was struck with, wow, she was getting ready for a whole new journey, and she got cut short. But that was me looking at it with rose-colored glasses. Now, after the whole story, and I'm already like, hello, knock, knock, from inside the house.
Where's the husband?
Maybe she was running for her life. Maybe it wasn't. She was joyfully going on her new journey. Maybe she was trying to make it look all peaceful because she had two boys to, keep the coloring book facade going. But maybe she was really running for her life. Maybe it was really that contentious. And nowhere in the investigation does any of that come up. Get the hell out of here. That's starting to bother me now.
Now I'm mad as hell about that.
And the more I talk about it, the madder I'm going to get. So.
Right. Next.
Yeah.
Now, if you or anyone you know has information, again, please contact the Michigan State Police Grayling Post. And that number again is 989-348-5449. And if today's story stirs something heavy in you, please take care of yourself. We tell these stories not to sensationalize, but to remember, because somebody knows something. So if you found this story interesting and think it sounds like a creepy urban legend and would love to hear more like it, please give us a like, leave a comment, share, and subscribe. This helps our show to grow. Now, as always, we appreciate you and thank you for listening. Have a great week, and we will see you all back on Wednesday for Round Robin.
Bye.
Bye.